Emily Gaiden Razor Language. Emily is a Dendropolarm sub-DPS that wants to be played with burning to get her passive buffs. She doesn't buff burning itself, unlike Nilou does with the blooms, but she just gets buffs if the burning reaction is triggered on enemies, more like Chevreuse does with Overload. That's unfortunate in my opinion, cause I really wanted a burning Nilou that somehow buffed this underused reaction, but that's not Emily. Her entire kit revolves around her skill, basically. When she uses it, she creates a Lumideus case that will attack enemies at intervals, dealing dendro damage. If enemies are burning, they will give off sense at intervals, and the Lumideus case will level up after gathering to sense. A level 2 Lumideus case will fire off 2 dendro hits at a time instead of 1, and they will also do more damage. Her burst basically creates a level 3 Lumideus case for 2.8 seconds, which will attack every 0.3 seconds with a way larger damage. During this time, if there is already an active case from her skill, she will stow it away and make it reappear at the end of the burst case, with reset duration. Otherwise, she will create a new one. With her first passive, she will consume the 2 cents collected with her skill when enemies are burning, releasing a big AoE damage equal to 600% of Emily's attack. And since her skill can produce 1 cent every 2 seconds, this means she will deal a nice nuke every 4 seconds or so. The second passive basically buffs her damage against burning enemies based on her attack, with 15% damage every 1000 attack, capped at 36% with 2400 attack. And the last passive just gives all party members 85% pyro resistance against burn damage if a case is active on the field, just to make sure you don't burn yourself to death if you get too close to enemies. Her best weapons, besides of course her signature, are Calamity Queller, Staff of Homa, or even Scarlet Sands and Jade Spear as stat sticks. As for 4-star options, Deathmatch from the Battle Pass and Blackglyph Pull from the Starglitter shop are fine. Otherwise, you just can't go wrong with Favonius. Her personal damage will be lower than the alternatives, but she will help with the energy requirements of herself and the other party members, especially Xiangling if played together. For non-gacha options, however, there is Missive Wind Spear from an old event as a solid option, but if you missed it, the Craftables Kitten Cross Spear and Moonpiercer are just fine. The EM substats are not great, but at least will buff the cheap burning damage a little, so it doesn't go completely wasted. Moving on, her best artifact set is the Unfinished Reverie, but if you don't want to farm that domain just for her, Deepwood is just as valid, especially if no one else is using it on the team. The 30% Dendro Resistance Shred is simply too good to ignore. Main stats are Attack Sands, Dendro Goblet, and Crit Circlet. Substats are Crit Rate, Crit Damage, Attack, and Energy. Her energy requirements can vary, depending on if she's playing with another Dendro unit and if she has her signature weapon or Favonius, but you should be fine with little energy. Just like all the recent characters, she has really strong early cons, but remember they're never necessary and you can enjoy a character even at C0. C1 basically increases the damage for her skill and first passive talent by 20%, and additionally, when the party triggers burning or deals dendro damage to burning enemies, an additional scent will be produced, with a 2.9 seconds cooldown. This means that her AoE nuke from her first passive will proc more frequently. C2 is literally a built-in Deepwood set that triggers on all of her dendro damage, reducing enemies' dendro resistance by 30% for 10 seconds. C4 makes her burst last to more seconds, for a total duration of 4.8 seconds, and makes it able to target the same enemy more frequently, which should help in single target scenarios. And lastly, with C6, when using skill or burst, she will gain Dendro Infusion for 5 seconds on her normal and charged attacks, and they will get buffed by 300% of her attack. In addition, she will produce 1 cent with each attack. This infusion will expire after the 5 seconds duration or after 4 cents are created, and it can occur once every 12 seconds. Talent priority is skill and burst. You can completely ignore her normal attacks since she doesn't use them, unless you have C6. Now for her teams, she really wants to play burn comps, since that's what her kit is all about. She loses too much damage to even think about playing her on quicken compositions. The best team that comes to mind is Burn Melt, with Risley or Ganyu, Xiangling and Bennett, or straight up a full burn comp with a pyro carry like Arlecchino or Lini. And that's it for this guide. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.